Well, the world is watching, the stadiums are roaring, millions are dreaming, and here we will be following every step of the biggest sporting event on the planet. The goals, the stories, the emotions, and the voices that make the FIFA World Cup much more than a tournament. From the stadiums to the streets, from the celebrations to the debates shaping football's greatest stage, we bring you closer to the pulse of this extraordinary event. I'm Luis Alberto Matos, and this is From the Field 2026. Let's kick off. Well, and as we kick off this show, also other people are kicking off as well is Iraq and Norway, as they kicked off their Group I fixture. France and Senegal, also in that group, every point could be crucial in the race for the knockout stage. Norway arrived with one of the tournament's most dangerous attacks, weapons in Erling Haaland, whose goal-scoring ability can change any match in an instant, supported by Captain Martin Odegaard. Norway will look to control possession and create chances through quick, direct football. Iraq, meanwhile, enters as the underdog, but has built its reputation on organization, discipline, and resilience. The Lions will aim to frustrate Norway defensively and capitalize on counter-attacks and set pieces. It's a classic contrast of styles, Norway's firepower against Iraq's determination. And as we continue with the games happening in this occasion, in this match day of the World Cup, France carried out a decisive victory over Senegal with a clear 3-1 in a high-tempo, entertaining match that began the activities in Group I and matched the tempo for this group and for the decision of its possible results. Well, the match began with Senegal in full discipline, controlling the defense, holding down the attack of France. They were able to leave that first half with 0-0, protecting from the attacks, the ongoing attacks of France. However, by the second half, as we were saying, heading into the break, they were 0-0, but the second half told a very different story. France came out with far greater intensity, and it didn't take long for their attacking quality to show. The breakthrough shifted momentum completely as France began to find space between the lines and accelerate their passing in the final third. From there, the game opened up into a showcase of attacking football. Senegal, however, responded with character. They pushed forward and managed to get themselves back into the match, with a well-taken goal briefly raising hopes of a comeback and putting pressure back on the French defense. For a moment, the contest was alive again, but France's depth and star power ultimately made the difference, with their attacking trio combining fluidly. They restored control and added a third goal to seal the result. From that point on, France managed the game professionally, seeing out a deserved victory. The headline performer was once more, of course, Kylian Mbappe, whose pace and movement constantly stretched the Senegal back line. His influence in the decisive moments on the line, why he remains one of the most fearful in world football, continuing his pursuit of history on the World Cup stage. For Senegal, they were positive despite the scoreline. The resilience, organization, and ability to threaten in transition will give them belief heading into their remaining group matches. Let's go now to New York to see some of the reaction of fans following this high match that was held in that city in the United States. Let's see those reactions.
Hello, and greetings from New York City. The match between the Senegal and France national teams was a great one. The first half saw no goals from either side, but it did showcase a high-intensity game. Kylian Mbappe opened the scoring in the 66th minute. It was a very intense second half, though Senegal ultimately lost the match to France 3-1. The Senegalese are hoping now that their performance and luck will improve in the next games. Here in Times Square, the World Cup atmosphere is palpable. Tourists and locals gather daily to enjoy this great spectacle. This is all I have from New York City. Back to you in the studio.
That was Harry Camelo in New York reporting from there. Let's now listen to the fans in that city as well, in Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, it's a match coming up. It's right before our game with Argentina. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup, a very defensive team versus a very attacking team like they have Haaland, Odegaard. I don't really know much about the Iraqi team, but I know it's probably the easiest matchup that they're going to have in the whole groups because after that they have Senegal and France. So, you know, I wish both of the teams luck, but I think Norway is going to take it.
Surprise in this match?
No, I don't think it's going to be a surprise. I think they're going to play very defensive, but by the end, Norway is going to end up making a like 2-0.
I think Norway is actually going to take it. They got Haaland, Iraq. I feel like they're very defensive, but in this case, Norway will take it.
The team looks so good, and the defense system and the striker, they all look good, and the goalkeeper also look good. So I would go with the Norway. Yeah, the team look good. Yeah.
I think that the game between Iraq and Norway is going to be something very interesting. I think both teams have been in the World Cup for so many years now. And I do definitely think that that's going to be something that's going to really represent the upcoming game. They are indeed in the same league as Senegal and France, which are definitely two contenders that mean the world that they're competing right now, actually. So I think this game is going to be such an intense game because they have to showcase themselves after so many years of not being in the World Cup. So I think it's going to be a really interesting that they have to just basically compete with one another and truly show what it means that, you know, after so many years of not being in a World Cup, this is the time for them to represent their countries and showcase to France and Senegal that they are a competition. They mean business and they mean something definitely in this World Cup.
Well, let's continue talking about the game that just ended, which is France and Senegal. And for that, let's welcome Hamid Mark, sports analyst, live here with us in from the field. Welcome, Mark.
Hi. How you guys doing?
We've been doing great. We've been watching very good football games. Let's break down this game, France-Senegal, into two halves, because I believe there were two halves. In the first one, France dominated possession, but lacked clear chances. Was this more Senegal's discipline or France's lack of sharpness in that final third?
Yeah, so in the first half, it looked like the game was going more like how the Spain and Cape Verde game was going, except for Senegal is actually a very good team. People don't think that Senegal is a very good team, but they have a lot of good quality players like Sadio Mane, Nicholas Jackson, Sarr in the front three, got Gaye running the midfield. So it was a little cagey in the first half. Again, maybe it's the first game jitters that happens, but in the second half, there's a whole nother story. France is probably my favorite to win the whole tournament, and they're definitely, in terms of depth, the best team, I think, by far in the tournament. So their talent in the second half just shone through. Now, Senegal did make it a little interesting, scoring in the 90-plus minute. I think it was like 3 minutes left to go. So they did make it a little scary, but then Kylian Mbappe, who I think is going to be the best player in the tournament, definitely the best player in France, he showed the reason why they're the favorites going into this tournament to win the whole thing.
Do you think that France was waiting patiently in that first half, or was Senegal that was able to hold them? Because what changed in the second half, what changed tactically for France? It was like a completely different game of full attack.
Yeah, so I think Senegal, they really tried to dig deep and absorb the pressure, knowing that you have players like Michael Olise, Doué, Kylian Mbappe coming at you. You don't want to just go out and try to attack, because then you leave yourself open in the back for those type of players to hurt you. So I think Senegal was playing a little cagey in the first half, which made it harder for France to break through their lines. And again, we've seen like in the Cape Verde game, when teams are deep in 4x4 blocks in the defense, it's very hard for teams on the front foot to break them through. We've seen that even in the English Premier League, where Arsenal would dominate possession, but teams would stay defensive. So it's very hard for France to break the lines. But I think Senegal tried to play a little bit more in the second half, and that opened up a little bit more lines and through balls for France to cut through and score the goals. Like Mbappe's first goal was an example of that, where they made a good through pass and he finished in the 18-yard box. So Senegal tried to play a little football, and it hurt them in the end.
Exactly. Senegal didn't come just to protect the 0-0 draw, because as we were saying, they tried to play football, even though, of course, everyone was giving us a clear favorite, France. But then we saw that when France scored that first goal, Senegal did not just like, let's go back to avoid like more goals coming in, and instead they tried to go forward and try to score, to tie, to do something. Not just, they were not here just to, we are here. No, they tried to go toe-to-toe with France. So how would you characterize that team, Senegal? And also, thinking ahead the other two matches of the group, do you believe that Senegal could prove to be a good contender in this group as well to qualify for the next round?
Honestly, I think so. Senegal is a very good team. They just got unlucky to draw France as their first game. But if you're looking at Group I think they're one of the teams that you could argue could be second or third. And remember, in this tournament, the best third place teams still move on to the knockout stages. So if they don't get second place, if they do very good and collect enough points to be one of the best third place teams, I think they're looking to get on into the knockout stages. But this is an African team that you can't sleep on. Again, they have very good quality players, and it did look a little cagey for France a little bit. Only 2-1. Ibrahim Mbaye scored in the 93rd minute, I believe, and it looked like they may have just gotten something to tie the game. But again, when you have the likes of Kylian Mbappe on the pitch, it's very hard to let your guard down until the last minute.
Well, as you were saying, when you have Kylian Mbappe on the field, it's very difficult to win, because he can pretty much fix a game by himself. Do you believe that his performance will define the World Cup and will define him as you were already talking about that, but as the player to see in this World Cup? I also wanted to talk a bit about the fact that he scored 2 goals on these games, but what makes it more important is that he's 2 goals short of that all-time record of goal scorers in a World Cup of closer the whole 16. What do you make of Mbappe and his path on France, the results of this first game?
So it's very interesting for a person like Kylian Mbappe, because he had a very rocky season with Real Madrid this year. Everyone knows, it's well documented, that there was infighting, players weren't getting along. Him and Vinny, the chemistry wasn't there. But with France, it's a whole different story. People forgot he has a 1 World Cup underneath his belt already, I believe, when he was 18. So he has that experience and that confidence and the arrogance, we dare say, of being the best player in the world. In my opinion, he is the best player in the world and the best player in the tournament. He's now France's all-time leading goal scorer. He just passed Olivier Giroud. You said he's 2 goals away from becoming the all-time leading scorer in the World Cup history, and he's only 27. So this won't be his last World Cup. He will still have 1, maybe even 2 World Cups left in him if he keeps his body, and knock on wood, there's no injuries for his career. But I think as a player, he's definitely the one to watch. I think he's going to be the highest goal scorer in the tournament. Now, you guys are talking about Iraq versus Norway. There's another guy who is going to be in competition for the Golden Boot this year, I think, in Aaron Holland. But I definitely think Kylian Mbappe is the benchmark in terms of in this tournament.
Thank you, Mark, for your inputs and your insight in this important game. Of course, I'm sure we're gonna have more opportunities to talk more about this World Cup.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure. Well, let's now come to a short break. But remember, if you have missed any of our From the Field episodes, you can go to our YouTube playlist, where you're going to find all the episodes there with the traditional host, Carlos Montero. He's feeling a bit under the weather, but he should be back in full force tomorrow. But go on the YouTube playlist and you can find everything if you have missed anything in there. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to From the Field. Well, today we also have an Argentina versus Algeria, and what a game this promises to be later tonight. In Kansas City, Lionel Scaloni's side begins its quest to retain the World Cup against a dangerous Algeria team in the opening match of Group J. Argentina enters the tournament, of course, carrying enormous expectations after lifting the trophy in Qatar 2022, and history is also on the line. No nation has successfully defended a World Cup title since Brazil in 1962. All eyes will once again be on Lionel Messi. At 38 years old, the Argentine legend is playing in what is expected to be his sixth and final World Cup. While questions remain about how many minutes he will play after managing a recent muscle issue, Messi remains the creative heartbeat of the team and the player capable of changing a match with a single moment of brilliance. But this Argentina side is far more than Messi. The squad combines experienced World Cup veterans, winners, with a younger generation of stars, players such as Lautaro Martinez, Julian Alvarez, and Edson Fernandez and Rodrigo de Paul, give Scaloni multiple attacking options and one of the most balanced teams in the tournament. Argentina are widely considered favorites, not only to win this match, but also to top Group J. However, Algeria arrives with no intention of simply making up the numbers. The North Africans have quietly built impressive form heading into the World Cup and possess enough quality to trouble any opponent. Veteran captain Riyad Mahrez remains the team's leader and biggest attacking threat, while exciting young midfielder Ibrahim Massa is viewed as one of Algeria's breakout talents. Up front, the pace and movement of Amin Guri and Mohamed Amouda could test Argentina's back line on the counterattack. Tactically, this match presents a fascinating contrast. Also, Argentina will likely dominate possession, using their midfield to control the tempo and create chances through patient build-up play. Algeria, meanwhile, may look to stay compact defensively, frustrate the champions, and strike quickly in transition whenever opportunities arise. Several analysts expect a competitive contest because Algeria's defensive organization has been one of their strengths throughout qualifying and recent preparations. The broader importance of this match cannot be overstated, with Austria and Jordan also in Group J. 3 points tonight would be immediately a place for the winner in a strong position to reach the knockout stages. Argentina wants a statement victory to launch its title defense, while Algeria sees this as a chance to produce one of the tournament's major upsets. So, can Messi and Argentina take the first step toward back-to-back World Cup titles, or will Algeria shock the football world on opening night? We'll be finding this out around 9 p.m. Caracas time. And as we have been speaking in this show about France and Argentina, as they debut in this World Cup, later tonight, Argentina, France already won 3-1 against Senegal, a specific game comes to mind. And of course, we are referring to the final in Qatar 2022, a game and a final that is considered by many, myself included, as the best final in a World Cup tournament. Let's learn more about what happened that day.
The 2022 FIFA World Cup final in Qatar is widely remembered as one of the greatest matches ever played. At Lusail Stadium, Argentina appeared to be cruising towards glory as Lionel Messi converted a first-half penalty and Ángel Di María finished a brilliant counter-attack to give La Albiceleste a 2-0 lead. Lionel Scaloni's tactical setup overwhelmed France, with Argentina dominating possession, pressing aggressively and limiting the defending champions to almost no attacking threat for nearly 80 minutes. Then came the Kylian Mbappé show. With just 10 minutes remaining, Mbappé converted a penalty before volleying home a stunning equalizer less than 2 minutes later, turning a one-sided final into pure chaos. Messi restored Argentina's lead in extra time, but Mbappé completed a historic hat-trick from the penalty spot to make it 3-3. In the dying moments, Argentina goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez produces the legendary save to deny Kolo Muani before the match went to penalties. Argentina prevailed 4-2 in the shootout, securing a tier World Cup title and finally delivering the trophy Messi had chased throughout his career. Back in France, the reception was bittersweet. Despite the heartbreaking defeat, thousands of supporters welcomed Le Bleu home and applauded a team that had come within inches of retaining the World Cup. Much of the praise focused on Mbappé, whose hat-trick in the final became one of the greatest individual performances ever seen on a final. In Argentina, however, celebrations reached historic proportions. Millions flooded the streets of Buenos Aires and cities across the country to welcome home their champions. Fans packed avenues, waved sky blue and white flags, and celebrated through the night as Messi and his teammates paraded the trophy that ended a 36-year wait for World Cup glory. Now, as Argentina arrives at the 2026 World Cup as defending champion, expectations remain enormous, with much of the Qatar winning score still intact and Messi once again leading the squad. Many believe Argentina has a genuine chance to achieve something no nation has done since Brazil in 1962, win back-to-back World Cups.
And as Argentina prepares for its opening match of the World Cup, let's go with our collaborator again for more details on how people are preparing for it in Argentina.
Muchísimas gracias por el contacto.
Thank you very much for reaching out. We are awaiting Argentina's first match in the World Cup. And the truth is that walking through the streets of Buenos Aires, there is not yet a strong World Cup fever. That will probably change as the tournament progresses, especially if Argentina performs well. Speaking with people and asking them how they view the team's debut, everyone expresses confidence in the quality of the Scaloneta, the squad led by Lionel Scaloni. However, many also say that the lack of excitement may be because the anxiety has diminished since the last World Cup. Having already become world champions, the pressure that existed before is no longer there. The overwhelming euphoria that surrounded the previous tournament has, for now, been replaced by a more relaxed attitude. It will be great to defend the title, but if things do not go as well this time, it's not the end of the world. In some ways, this is also a form of self-preservation for Argentine fans, who have grown accustomed to seeing their national team succeed in every competition and understand that such success cannot continue forever. Once the ball starts rolling, anything can happen in football. As a result, some supporters are saying, let's stay calm and not put everything at 100% all the time. At the same time, this team has built a reputation for winning, competing hard, and giving everything on the field. Opinions may be divided, but deep down, everyone wants the same thing: to retain the title, continue calling themselves world champions, and pursue a fourth World Cup trophy. It is also true that Argentina is experiencing a period of economic and social crisis. The country has recently gone through several moments of collective mourning, including the farewell of Indio Solari and the loss of Tati Almeida. Various sectors of society are still processing these events, making it difficult to shift abruptly into full celebration mode, at least for the opening match. What seems certain is that if Argentina performs well as the tournament advances, the World Cup fever will grow and once again be felt throughout this football-loving nation.
And yesterday in Kansas City, as has become a tradition for Argentine fans, they held a banderazo in that city where the game is going to take place later tonight, which expresses their support and the passion that country has for football. Let's listen.
We have a great chance here, and we hope we can take back home like in Qatar. After the World Champ in 2022, we're expecting the magnificent game opening. So I think that we got a great squad this year. Probably last game for Leo Messi, last World Cup. So we're expecting the best. I believe that the squad did great in terms of preparation. We came with 9 injured players, but I think that they were recouped in the last few weeks. So right now we got the squad that is ready to take this.
We expect to win, of course. Always the first game is very tough. A lot of people all the players are nervous, but I think this World Cup we may win again. So.
Well, and if we're speaking, of course, of Argentina, that's the game to watch later tonight. There's only one man that comes to mind when you speak of Argentine football, and that is Diego Armando Maradona. Let's say farewell to this from the field with some of his messages and support for Argentina, for Perón, and for everything that Maradona represented.
Yo me equivoqué y pagué, pero la pelota no se mancha.
Diego, me gustaría mostrarle algo. Por ser hoy un aniversario de la muerte de... Vamos a escuchar una interpretación que no será la de Hugo del Carril, pero es muy buena, escuche.
Todos unidos triunfaremos y como siempre daremos un grito de corazón, viva Perón, viva Perón. A la gran masa del pueblo combatiendo al capital. Perón, Perón, qué grande sos, mi general con tu valer. Perón, Perón, gran conductor, sos el primer trabajador. Sos el primer trabajador.
Hubiera sido un gran encuentro.
Hubiera
La historia
sido-
nos debe
Sí,
una
sí.
foto de Perón y Maradona.
Y Gatica cuando le da la mano a Perón le dice, dos potencias se saludan. Y bueno, a mí me queda eso, ¿no?
La pelota no se mancha.